lines, strong balance, and a clear political direction. Niloufar pain become one of the deepest emotional part of this update. She is not only jealous, she is wounded because she feels that the place she built in Orhan heart is now being tested in front of everyone. For her, as Porka arrive is not only the arrival of another woman, it is arrival of a new reality. Niloufar must now face the hardest question of her life. Can love survive with the state demand sacrifice? This question gives the story a powerful emotion base. Because Niloufar is not written as weak, she is written as a woman who has dignity, pride, and deep love. Her silence, anger, and broken heart all creates a new tension inside the place. Esporca, on the other hand, enters the story with her own burden. She is not simply an outsider coming into the palace. She comes with political value but also with emotional danger. Her presence changes the balance between the women, between the families, and even between Orhan's enemies. The places now become a place where every glass has meaning, every word can become a wound, and every decision can relate a new enemy. This is why the latest update feels less like a normal marriage plot and more like the beginning of a bigger palace struggle. The the interesting thing is that Orhan enemies understand this weakness very quickly. They know that when the palace is emotionally divided, the state becomes vulnerable. They do not need to defeat Orhan, only is open conflict. They can also try to weaken him through confusion, pressure, and inner division. This is where Sahina, Darmina, Didar, and their dangerous player becomes important. They are not only waiting for Orhan to make a mistake, they are trying to phase him into one. The more Orhan tries to build balance, the more his enemies try to turn that balance into choice. So that latest month update is not just about one marriage, one revenge, or one new target. It is about the transformation of Orhan on into a ruler who must understand that a state is not protected only on the battlefield. Our story is also protected in the palace, in the consul, a family decision, and in the heart of the people. And now Sultan Orhan real test being Nilufar Esporca and the silence war of the palace. The palace is now becoming one of the most dangerous places in Orhan, cruelest Orhan in the past from enemies' traps and one threat. But in the latest update, danger began to grow quickly inside the palace itself. Nilusar and Esporca are now balanced against each other in every situation. Emotional conflict. This is not a loud war at first, it is a silent war of pride, pain, position, and near. Both women understand that the future of the palace will not be shaped only by Orhan's war, it will also be shaped by Mom stand beside him and who carries influence over his heart and household. Nilufar's reaction is natural because she sees Asporka as a threat to everything she has suffered for. She walked beside Orhan through difficult time, and now she must watch a political marriage can change the atmosphere around her. This is why the pain feels personal. She does not want to look weak in front of Esporca. Mulhan honked on other people. Mulhan hovered on the palace people, but at the same time she cannot hide the wound inside her. When a person hurt is hurt, silence becomes heavy. Nilufar, every expression carries the weight of a woman who want to remain strong but also wants Orhan to understand that he has done to her. Asporka position is also not easy. She entered a palace where everyone is already connected by old loyalties, old love, and old sacrifice. She knows that she is needed for political reason, but being needed is not the same as being expected. Her challenges is different from Nilufar. Nilufar must protect her palace. Asporka must create her place. This difference makes the conflict more powerful. Asporka has to prove that she is not only a political bride, she has to show that she is intelligence, courage, and the ability to survive in a world everywhere mistake can be used against her. Molhan Horn's role in this tension can become very important as a mother figure and as an experienced woman of the state. She understands both sides better than anyone. She knows Nilufar pain, but she also knows Orhan's responsibility. She can see that this is not just a matter of love, it is a matter of state survival. Mulhan Hunt may become the bridge between emotional and political, but even she cannot fully stop the storm if she women of the palace allow with their pain to be used by enemies. This is where they find possible opportunity becomes dangerous. Stefan is waiting for weakness. She knows that emotional cracks and become open door. It Nilufar feels abandoned if Asporka feels rejected. If the palace becomes divided, someone like Define can use the moment to expose manipulate to create future damage. In stories like these, the most dangerous enemy is not always the one holding a sword. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one who waits quietly until begin to hurt each other. The palace tension also affect Orhan image as a ruler. It has cannot balance in his own household. This enemy will say that cannot keep balance in the state. This is why his reaction to Nilufar pain becomes important. If he has too soft, enemies will call him weak. Nilufar pain becomes important. It is too soft, enemies. If he too harsh, he may break the break of the woman who he stands beside him. This is the tragedy of rulership. Orhan must make decisions that hurt the people he loves, and then he must live with the silence that follows. The emotional strength of this latest update comes of the conflict. Nilufar and Sporka are not just two women fighting for attention. They represent two sides of Orhan's life, love and political, the heart of the throne, personal loyalty and state necessity. And the more this conflict grows, the more it will shape the next direction of the series. Daphne Didar and the Revenge enter the palace. While the palace is already shaken by Orhan marriage decision and other danger begin to rise from the shadow. Define and Didar present a different type of threat. They are not only enemies from outside, they are not people who understand pain, humiliation, loss, and revenge. This makes the dangerous because revenge give a person patient, a person who can power many make mistakes quickly, but a person who wants revenge can wait for the perfect woman. Daphne's situation is especially interesting because she is trapped but not satisfied. Finish a character like Daphne does not need freedom. to create danger from a weak position. She can still observe, listen, and search for emotional cracks. Nilufar, a pain many becomes useful for her if the balance becomes distracted by the tension between Nilufar and Asporka. Daphne can find a chance to move. She may not need to defect everyone directly. She only needs one mistake, one door left open, one person acting emotionally instead of wisely. Didar revenge is more direct and more bloody. Her anger does not come from political alone, it comes from grief and loss. When a mother is pushed into revenge, her action become unpredictable. Didar does not think like a normal political enemy anymore. She wants the palace to feel the same pain that she feels. This is why her plan to bring danger into the palace carries serious emotional weight. She is not only attacking Orhan ruler, she is attacking his peace, his family, and his sense of security. The environment of a dangerous warrior like Despina adds another layer to this threat. Despina is not just a tool, she represents the kind of danger that can enter quietly and strike when everyone is looking somewhere else. In a palace full of ceremonies, emotions, and family pressure, one hidden blade can change everything. This creates a powerful dramatic setup while Orhan is trying to protect the future of the state throne marriage. His enemies are trying to turn that same marriages into a tragedy. This kind of storyline works because it mixes celebration with fear. A wedding should normally bring stability, but there is become a battlefield of emotional and secrets. Every can smile hide a plan, every guest can become a suspect. Every moment of joy can suddenly turn into panic. This is why the latest update feels intense without ending. Constant battle scenes. The real suspense comes from knows that the enemy may already be inside. Didar plan also tests the women of the palace. Nilufar and Esporka may be emotionally divided, but danger can make force them to understand each other. When blood reaches the palace floor, personal jealousy may suddenly become smaller than survival. This is where the story can create a strong turning point. Esporka helping Nilufar during point difficult moment, especially around the birth sense, can become a powerful symbol. Two women who were balanced against each other may discover that the real enemy is not each other. The real enemy is a choice that wants to destroy the house from within. Orhan responds to his danger will define his leadership. He must show that he can protect his palace, punish betrayal, and still pain. If he become blinded by anger, his enemies. If he become too forgiving, his enemies grow stronger. The balance between justice and mercy is one of the oldest tests of leadership. Orhan now stand directly in front of the test. The latest update therefore turns the palace into a mirror of the state. Just like the frontier are surrounded by enemies, the palace is surrounded by hidden intention. Just like Orhan must expand the borders outside, he must also protect the truth inside, and if he fails, inside, every victory outside will become bigger. Evans and Fatma love under the shadow of danger. The story of Evans and Fatma bring a different emotional color to the latest update. While Orhan carries the state and Nilufar carries heartbreak, everyone and Fatma carry the pain of love tested by danger. Their connection is not simple because if he has passed through identity, trust, fear, and sacrifice, is not just a romantic figure in this stage of the story. He is a man trying to prove that his love is stronger than his past and stronger than the enemies who wants to use that past against him. Fatma's situation is also emotionally because she is caught between love and family honor. She cannot look at events only through the eyes of the heart. She must also think about the damage, the secret, and the consequence of accepting him. This is why their love story feels heavy. It does not move like a soft romance. It moves like a wound trying to heal while enemies keep opening it again. Every time they come close to peace, someone brings dangers between them. The latest update Palace Fatima is danger through Andre's trap, and this become a major test of Evron. A man can speak of love and many times, but real love is proven when fear enters the scene. Risking himself for Fatima shows that his love is not only words, it is action, it is sacrifice, and it is willingness to stand at the edge of death. If that is what it takes to save her, this kind of moment is important for viewers because it just giving emotional payoff. After so much pain and confusion, the audience want to see whether Yom will truly choose Fatma above himself, but the danger does not end with rescue. Yigit's revenge creates another storm around them. Yigit is burning with anger, and that anger makes him dangerous. He does not see Evron's and Fatima as two people trying to find peace. He sees them as the reason from his humiliation and loss. When a character becomes consumed by revenge, he stops caring about limits. This is where the story comes stands again. Evron may save Fatima from one trap, but can he protect their future for a man who refuses to let go of hatred? Fatma's emotional journey can become stronger if she is shown not only as someone being saved but as someone making a choice. She must decide whether she will allow fear to control her or whether she will stand beside Evian despite the dangers. This choice matters because love is cruel. Orhan is never separate from politics. Every marriage, every relationship, and every emotional bond can affect the state. In Fatima chooses Evron is may heal one wound but open another conflict. With those who oppose the match, Evron also carries symbolic importance. His journey can represent transformation. He is a man connected with different worlds, different loyalties, and different identities. If he fully stands with Orhan, his becomes a message that his new state is not only built by bloodline but also by chosen faith, chosen loyalty, and chosen sacrifice. This makes his character useful for wider story. He is not only Fatma's love interest, He can become one of the more important men around Orhan, someone who understands both the enemies of the mind and the pain of becoming new. The Ibrion and Fatma storyline gives the series emotional breathing space, but it also keeps the tension alive. It reminds us that in this world, love is never safe. Every promise is tested, every heart is watched, and every peaceful moment can be broken by revenge. Their story now stands at a turning point. Danger, either they will become stronger through danger, or the hatred around them will drag them into another tragedy. Orhan new target and the road towards expansion. The latest update also moved the story beyond the palace and back to the future of the state. Orhan Sultan attention turns toward expansion, and the mention of near the Karachi border is important because it connects personal drama with political ambition. Orhan cannot remain trapped inside palace problem forever. He must move forward. He must show his enemies, his people, and even his own family that the state is being still rising. Historically, Orhan period is remembered as a people when the Ottoman Principality became stronger, more organized, and more ambitious. The historical Orhan is connected with major developments such as Bursa, Iznik, Izmit, and they are nearly expansion that helped transform a fortnight Benjik like into a serious political power. This background gives the series a strong foundation because the audience that Orhan's journey is not small. He is not only trying to protect but Osman Bey left behind. He is preparing a build something larger, some more stable and more dangerous to the enemies around him. In the story can be seen as more than a village as a target. It becomes a symbol of Orhan's next step. Every small palace on the fortune matter because fortune are not only lines on a map, they are not to the future. If Orhan takes one step forward, his enemies lose space. If they hesitate, they gain courage. That is why his enemies try to stop him before he creates movement. They know very well that Orhan's strength is not only is winning one palace, his real strength is turning every gain into the foundation of the next one. Sahinsa Dirman and Mehman by trap against Orhan shows that the enemies now understand his direction. They are not waiting for him to because to power. They want to break him while he is still building. This is a smart moving from the enemy side. A rising ruler is most valuable when he is carrying too many responsibilities at once. Orhan has palace tension behind him, enemies ahead of him, and curtain loyalty around him are trapped at this moment can shake everything. Burhan Bey and Bey joining Orhan on the road gives the story emotional weight. These older lawyer figures connect the new era with the old one. They are a reminder of Osman Bey's time of sacrifice already made and the loyalty that they kept of spirit alive. If their lives are placed in danger, the audience feels that the past itself it begin threatened. This is why the fear around their possibility mitromed become powerful. It is not only about losing two warriors, it is about losing living memories of the foundation. Orhan's reaction to the trap will matter more than the trap itself. Its ruler is not measured only by whether enemies attacked him. A true ruler is measured by how he rises after the attack. If Orhan survives this danger with wisdom, he will not only defeat his enemies physically, he also prove that he is becoming the leader and state needs. He must show that the can protect his arms, expose betrayal, punish rebellion, and still keep his eyes on the larger future. This is where the script can become very powerful. Orhan may be surrounded, but he is not lost. His enemies may think they have trapped him, but they may actually be helping him reveal who is loyal and who is false. Every trap can become a mirror, every betrayal can become a cleaning, every enemy move can becoming a reason for Orhan of Stratton to the state future. The future after the storm, the latest month of Krulus Orhan, feels like a bridge between two states of the story. The first state was about introducing Orhan rules, his emotional world and the people around him. Now the story is moving into a heavier stage where every character must pay a price. Orhan must pay the price of leadership, Nilufar must pay the price of love, Asporka must pay the price of entering a palace that does not fully trust her. Fatima and Evrons must pay the price of choosing each other in a world full of revenge. Even the enemy must pay the price of their own hurted. One of the strongest future possibilities is that Nilufar and Asporka relationship will change after crisis. At first, they are standing against each other. If danger forces them to protect the same danger processes household, then their relationship can slowly become more layered. They not become close immediately, and they may never become simple friends, but respect can being where rivalry once stood. This would make the story more mature. It would show that women in the palace are not only emotional rivals, they are also political mind, mother, protector, and survivor. Orhan's new child and his renewed oath can also open a powerful future direction. A birth in a story like this is nearly only a family moment, it is a symbol of community. When Orhan holds his child, he is not only holding a son, he is holding the future of the dynasty, the promise of Osman Bey, dreams, and the responsibility of a state that must live. This gives the story emotional depth because Orhan's struggle becomes bigger than himself. He is not fighting only for power, he is fighting for a future that his children will inherit. The enemies, however, will not stop. Sahinsas, Damiran, Didar, Yigit, and others may suffer losses, but their hearted can create new alliances. This is one of the most dangerous possibilities in the next episode. When enemies fall alone, they often become stronger together. Orhan rise will force them to either submit or unite, and because pride of then stronger than wisdom is many of these characters they may choose destruction over surrender. Daphne rule can also grow if she escape or manipulation the palace from within. She represents unfinished danger. A character like Daphne can keep the story unpredictable because she may have to use emotion. She may not need an army, she may need only one secret, only line, or one emotional wound. If she uses Nilufar pain as Porka insulation or Fatma danger, she can create a crisis larger than herself. Or for Orhan, the coming story should be about becoming colder without becoming cruel. This is the real challenge. A ruler who remains too soft are destroyed by enemies. A ruler who becomes too hard destroy his own heart. Orhan must become wise enough to know when to forgive and strong enough to know when forgiveness becomes weakness. This balance is what will separate him from ordinary babe. This balance will make him Sultan Orhan in the true sense. The next direction of Krulus Orhan should therefore move with three strong lines: the palace struggle, the frontier expansion, and the emotional cost of power. The palace struggle will test the woman and the family. The frontier expansion will test Orhan leadership and military vision. The emotional cost will test whether love can survive inside a state that demands sacrifice from everyone. Krulus Orhan now entered a deeper stage where the story is not moving only through open enemies, sword clashes, or political plans. The real weight of the latest update comes from Orhan's inner silence. This silence is not weakness, it is the silence of a ruler who has started to understand that every decision he makes will break someone's heart, anger someone's pride, or open a new door for enemies. Orhan is no longer standing only as the son of Osman Bey. He is now standing as the man who must carry Osman Bey's dream without always receiving Osman Bey's comfort. This difference is very important because when a son becomes a ruler, he loses the right to act only as a son, only as a lover, or only as a brother. He must become the center of everyone's hope and everyone's complaint. At the same time, the latest development around Orhan showed that his real struggle is not only outside the palace, it is inside his own chest. He knows Nilufar is hurt, he knows Esporka arrivals, he shaken the balance of the household, he knows the elders are watching him, the Bey are just him, and the enemies are waiting for one small mistake. Even he speaks calmly, his mind is full of questions. Did he choose the right path? Did the sacrifice too much? Did he hurt that one who observed protection? Did he give his enemy a new weakness to use against him? These questions make Orhan's character more human and more powerful at the same time. A weak ruler never questions himself. A strong ruler questions himself but still continues walking. Orhan's decision to marry Sporka creates a political wall around him. created a political wall around him, but him also creates an emotional distance between him and Nilüfer. This is where the drama becomes very meaningful. Orhan is not shown as a man who does not care. He cares too much, and that is problem. If he cared less, ruling would be easier. If he only wanted power, Nilüfer tears would not touch him, but because he carries love inside him, every political decision becomes painful. He understands that a throne is not only made also made of personal losses that one sees. If the palace people may think Orhan is strong because he does not explain everything, but sometimes silence creates misunderstanding. Nilüfer sees his silence as different, as Porka seen his silence as calculation. Mulhan Horn sees his silence as the beginning of maturity. The enemy sees his silence as a chance to confuse the palace. This is the clear part of the story. One man's silence is being entrusted by everyone is a different way. Orhan may be trying to keep the state together, but the people around him are trying to understand what is happening inside him. The audience can feel Orhan is walking an narrow road if gives too much attention on Nilüfer as Porka position, weakness, and the political purpose of the marriage become useless. If he gives too much importance of Porka, Nilüfer wounds become deeper and the palace become emotionally divided. If he ignores both, the woman may become insulted and enemies can enter through that insulation. This is why Orhan's role is now more difficult than before. She must not only win land, he must also manage her bridge expectation and silence anger. This latest phase also shows that Orhan's rule will not be accepted only because of his bloodline. He must prove himself again and again. Every Bey wants to know whether he has Osman Bey's strength. Every old Arabs want to know whether he has Osman Bey loyalty. Every enemy wants to know whether he has Osman Bey fire. But Orhan cannot simply become a copy of his father. That would make him smaller, not greater. He must find his own way. Osman Bey built the foundation through endurance and faith. Orhan must turn that foundation into a stronger state through patience, balance, and deeper political understanding. The emotional beauty of this part is that Orhan line is increasing even when may people understand around him. This is the long lines. Leadership. A normal man can share his openly. A ruler must measure even his pain before showing it. A normal man can say, I am tired. A ruler must say, the state will stand. A normal man can choose love without calculation. A ruler must ask whether love will strengthen or weaken the house he is responsible for. This is why Orhan's silence becomes the loudest part of the story. As the latest update moves forward, Orhan's enemies will likely continue trying to attack his honor balance. They know that the easiest way to defeat our ruler is not only to defeat his army, sometimes it is enough to divide his home, weaken his truth, and force him to doubt his own decision. But this is also where Orhan may become stronger. Every painful decision is teaching him, every emotional wound is making him understand the cost of power. Every hidden enemy is showing that him a state cannot be ruled only with courage, it must be ruled with patience, intelligence, and emotional control. In this stage, Orhan's greatest victory will not be only taking a new palace or defeated one enemy, his greatest victory will be learning how to remain just while everyone around him demands something different. Nilufar or demands love, Asporka demand position, Mulhan Horns demand wisdom, the bear demands strength, the people demand security, the enemies demand his fall, and Orhan standing is the middle of these demands must decide what kind of ruler he is going to become. This is why this section of Krulus Orhan feels deeper than a normal historical drama twist. It is the making of ruler, not through one speech, not through one victory, and not through one emotional scene, but through a slow pressure that keeps shaping him from every side. Orhan is not only rising, he is being curbed, and the sharper the pain becomes, the clearer his destiny being to appear. Nilufar hurts and the price of love. Nilufar's story is the latest update, is one of the most emotional part of Krulus Orhan because her pain is not simple jealousy, it is the pain of a woman who understands the state but cannot silence her. She knows Orhan is not ordinary man, she knows his choice cannot be like the choice of other men. She knows that when he future of the state is one side and personal happiness is one of the other, a ruler will become before toward the state. But understanding something does not make it easier to live through. This is why Nilufar's character becomes so powerful. She is not unaware of politicals. She is wounded because politics has entered the most private palace of her life. Nilufar's silence carries more meaning than many speeches. When she looks at Orhan, she does not only see the man she loves also sees the ruler who has palace duty above the heart. This creates a very deep emotional conflict. She cannot fully hate him because she understands his burden. She cannot fully forgive him because she feels the wound every time a Sporka name is mentioned. She cannot leave because her love and loyalty still tie her. Love and loyalty still tie him. She cannot stay without pain because the palace he has changed around her. This is the emotional prison Nilufar now lives in. her strongest quality of dignity. She does not want to become a woman who begs of attention. She does not want to show weakness in front of Asporka. She does not want enemies to see her pain and use it against Orhan, but the audience can feel that inside her something is breaking slowly. She may continue to stand straight, but she heart is no longer standing in the same place. This kind of writing gives Nilufar a tragic beauty. She is not simply crying because another woman came. She is giving the loose of curtainly she once had. Before Asporka arrival, Nilufar may have believed that the place in Orhan world was unshakable. Now, even if Orhan will love her, she must accept that love alone does not control destiny. If the world of Krulus Orhan, a woman can be loved as still the hurt by political decision. A man can love deeply and still chooses the path that wounds the person he loves. This is painful, but it also makes the story realistic with its historical and political atmosphere. The relationship between Nilufar and Asporka should not be written as a simple rivalry because that would weaken both characters. The strongest version is that both women are victims of the same system. In difficult way, Nilufar suffers because her emotional palace is shaken. Asporka suffered because her arrive in just before her heart is even understood. Nilufar sees Asporka as he reason for her pain, but slowly she may understand that Asporka is also carrying a burden. Asporka did not create the rules of the state. She entered a world where her presence was already political before it became personal. Nilufar's future strength may come from this realization. If she continues only with anger, enemies can use her. If she turns her pain into wisdom, she can become one of the strongest women in the palace. She knows Orhan better than may others. She understands his heart, his weakness, and his dreams. If she chooses maturity over bitterness, she can become not only a beloved woman but also a political mind who protects the state from inside. This is where Nilufar arc can become very powerful. Her pain can either destroy her peace or transform her into a great force. There is also a very important emotional question. What does Nilufar want from Orhan now? Does she want him to undo the decision? Does she want him to apologize? Does she want him to prove that Asporka's presence cannot erase her? Or does she want something deeper, something that even she may not be able to express clearly? Maybe she wants to know that she was not sacrificed easily. Maybe she wants to know that Orhan suffered too. Maybe she wants to feel that her pain mattered to him if his decision did not change. This is why one emotional conversation between Orhan and Nilufar can become more powerful than big action sequence if Orhan tells her that he did not choose his path without pain. Nilufar may still be hurt, but she may feel seen. Sometimes a broken heart does not heal because the situation changes. It begins to heal because the pain is acknowledged. Orhan must understand this. A ruler may cannot not be able to give everyone what they want, but he must not make the people closest to him feel invisible. Nilufar presence also creates emotional pressure on Asporka. Asporka cannot fully enter the palace freely because Nilufar Pain is already standing at the door. Every gesture Asporka makes can be misunderstood. If she stays quiet, people may call her proud. If she tries to speak, Nilufar may see it as fake kindness. If she stands close to Orhan, it deepens the wound. If she keeps distance, it weakens she political purpose of the marriage. If in this way, Nilufar pain affect the entire atmosphere of the palace even when she says nothing. The most interesting direction of Nilufar would be a slow transformation. At first she may feel replaced, she may feel angry, then she may feel alone, but after that she can begin to see the bigger danger around him, the revenge, defend, manipulation, enemies, spies, and place tension may force Nilufar to step beyond personal heartbreak. She may realize that if she allows her pain to blind her, enemies will not only not hurt Asporka or Orhan, they will hurt the whole house. This realization can become the most moment Nilufar realizes again. Nilufar emotional journey is not about forgotten pain, it is about learning how to carry pain without letting enemies control it. This is very strong message. In this world everyone is wounded. Orhan is wounded by duty. Asporka is wounded by rejection. Fatma is wounded by danger. Abron is wounded by his past. Nilufar is wounded by love. This question is not who suffers. This question is who turns suffer into strength. By the end of this stage, Nilufar may becomes more important than before, not because she wins Orhan back in a simple romantic way, but because she becomes someone who understands both love and state. If she learns to speak with dignity, act with intelligence, and protect her heart without poisoning it, she can become a central force in the story. Her pain will not make her smaller, it will make her deeper, and in a palace full of hidden plans, deep people are often more dangerous than loud people. Asporka entrance and the test of acceptance. Asporka arrives changed the rhythm of the story because she entered a palace that already has memories, loyalties, and emotional wounds. She is not walking into a empty place, she is walking into a world where every corner already belongs to someone past. Nilüfer tears are already there, Mulhan Horn's expectations are already there, Orhan burden is already there, the people judgment is already there. This is why a podcast strong story can without by understood only through the marriage. Her true test begins after the marriage, when she must live among people who sees her as political necessities before they sees her as a human being. As for the biggest challenge is expectance, not the expectance that comes from ceremony or official word, and the deeper attention that comes from trust. A palace can give a woman a little, but it cannot easily give her a palace in people's hearts. She may eat beside Orhan, but that does not mean everyone will stand beside her. She may be represented, respected in public, but that may be respected in public, but that does not mean she is safe in private. She is the difficult road as Porca must walk. She must be careful without looking afraid. She must be dignified without looking around. She must be close enough to fulfill her role but distant enough not to provoke. Nilüfer wound. Every step is measured. The audience should not to see Esporca as only a rival. That would make the story too simple. A better way to understand her is a woman who has also been placed inside the machinery of politics. Her life has become part of the decision bigger than herself. Maybe she carries ambitions, maybe she carries fears, maybe she wants respect more than love at first, but whatever her inner world is, she cannot escape the reality that the presence has distributed the old balance. This makes her both powerful and vulnerable. Esporca may quickly understand that the palace is not ruled only by formal authority. It is ruled by invisible relationship who speak to Malhan horns, who control the servant loyalty, who understand Orhan moods. She knows which bay is justified, who can sense when silence is dangerous. This small that thing decides survival. If Esporca is intelligence, she will not try to conquer the palace with bridge. She will observe, she will listen, she will learn where the real people flowers. Her relationship with Molhan horns can become very important. Molhan horns may test her quality. She may want to see whether Esporca is patient or impulsive, respectful or ambitious, loyal or self-serving. A mother of a ruler does not only look at sword, she looks at behavior during pressure. If Esporka loses control when Nilüfer challenges her, Mulhan haunts will notice it. Esporka shows humility but also strength. Mulhan Haunt will notice that too. This take every palace scenes important because the real judgment is happening beneath the surface. Esporka's greatest opportunity may come during crises. In peaceful times. People judge newcomers harshly, but in dangerous times, true character becomes visible. If the revenge plan of Daphne manipulation creates choice inside the palace, Esporka may get a chance to prove that she is not there only to divide it. If she protects someone, saves a secret for becoming disaster, or chooses the state over personal bridge, the people around her may begin to see her differently. Expansions often begins when a person proves useful in pain. Her relationship with Nilüfer is the heart of this test. Esporka must understand that Nilüfer anger is not only person's hearted, it is the voice of wounded heart. If Esporka responds with arrogance, the palace will burn emotionally. If she responds with false sweetness, Nilüfer will reject her even more. If Esporka responds with honesty, dignity, something may slowly shift. She does not need to apologize for exiting, but she also should not act as a Nilüfer pain is meaningless. This balance is difficult, but it is the only road towards peace. Orhan also plays a major role in how Esporka is accepted. If he treats her only as a political tool, she will become insulated. If he treats her only a political tool, she will become insulated. If she gives her attention without sensitivity or Nilüfer, he will deepen the palace conflict. If he ignores the tensions, he will allow enemies to use it. Orhan must create a structure of respect. He cannot force love between Nilüfer and Esporka, but he can prevent disrespect. He cannot remove pain immediately, but he can't stop pain from becoming poison. This is the part of ruling as well. Esporka inner conflict can also be very interesting. She may ask herself whatever she wants, Orhan hurt or only his respect. As first, political marriages often begin with duty, but human heart do not remain controlled forever. If Esporka begins to admire Orhan, her situation becomes more complicated. She may not want to hurt Nilüfer, but she may also want to remain a shadow. This emotional complexity can make her more than a political bridge. She can become a woman struggling between dignity, desire, and responsibilities. The enemies may also try to use Esporka. They may whisper that she will never be fully expected. They may offer her secret spots They may try to turn her loneliness into ambition. This is a classic palace danger. A lonely person becomes easier to manipulation. If Asporka feels rejected by everyone, she may be tempted to build her own hidden power. But if she receives even limited respect and a meaningful role, she may choose loyalty. The story can build strong tension around this choice. Asporka Palace is Krulus Orhan should therefore be written be patient. She should not become fully trusted too quickly, and she should not become a villain without reason. Her power lies is uncertainly the audience should around which she truly feels what truly wants and how far she will go to protect her dignity. This uncertainty makes the palace storyline alive. Every look she gives, every word she chooses, and every silence she keeps can carry hidden meaning. In a larger story, Asporka represents the political reality of Orhan era. The state is growing and its growth personal lives becomes tied to alliances, bordered and influence. Love alone cannot manage expansions, loyalty alone cannot prevent betrayal. The state needs marriages, agreements, and difficult compromises. Asporka is one of those compromises, but she is also a person inside that compromise. That is what makes her story worth watching. If Asporka succeeds, she may become a stabilizing force. If she fails, she may become the center of a dangerous division. But either way, the her arrival has already changed the palace of forever. Nilüfer can no longer live as before. Orhan can no longer avoid emotional consequence. Mulhan Houghton can no longer ignore the fragile balance of the household, and the enemies can no longer look at the palace as united. Without weakness, Asporka test is not to win against Nilüfer, her real test is to survive without losing herself. If she can do that, she will become one of the most important characters in the next phase of the story. The hidden game around Orhan, while emotional and rising inside the palace as a hidden game, continue around Orhan. This game is not visible. It does not always come with loud threat. Sometimes it comes through small movement, declare messages, strange loyalty, and people who speak with respect while hiding betrayal in their hearts. This is the kind of danger that makes the latest update more serious. Orhan enemies that have understood that they cannot look at him only as a young ruler anymore. He is learning, he is becoming stronger. So instead of attacking only front of them, they begin to surround him with confusion. The most dangerous enemy are not always the strongest one. The most dangerous are those who know when to wait. Didar waits through pain. The fan waits through opportunities. Sahinsas wait through ambitions. Dimra waits through resentment. Each one has a different person to oppose or harm, and that make the danger wider. If all enemies wanted the same thing, Orhan could predict them more easily, but when every enemy carries a different wound and a different plan, the ruler must stay awake from every side. The palace tension gives these enemies a perfect chance. When Nilufar is hurt, she may become emotionally distant. When Asporka is not fully expected, she may feel insulated. When Orhan is busy balancing his household, his attentions becomes divided. When elders try to protect the state, they may also create pressure without meaning to. This is how hidden enemies work. They do not always create weakness, sometimes they simply wait to natural weakness to appear, then they push it future. Daphne's role is this hidden game is especially important because she understands emotionally opening. She can see who feel ignored, who feel angry, who feel afraid, and who feel trapped. A character like Define does not need to come demand alliance. Her weapon are physiological pressure. If she can plant on doubt in Nilüfer heart, one insecurity in Asporka mind, or not false message near Orhan, she can create damage bigger than her position. This is why she remains dangerous even when she seems controlled. The revenge is different because it comes from pain that no longer wants peace. She does not want balance. She wants Orhan household to feel broken. She wants the palace to lose its sense of safety. Her danger is personal, and personal revenge often becomes more cruel than political rivalry. A political enemy may navigation when interests change, but a giving enemy does not easily stop. The revenge can therefore bring sudden danger at the moment when the palace believes it regaining control. Sahinsa and Damriya represent another kind of threat. Their anger comes from power, ambition, and wounded rage. They may not only want Orhan removed, they want to prove that thus does not deserve the palace he holds. This is important because ambition rivals often attack. Legitimacy does not simply say we want power, the say the current ruler is weaker, the current rule is unfair, the current ruler is distracted by women, marriage, and emotions. This type of propaganda can become dangerous if Orhan does not answer it with strength. Orhan must therefore fight two wars at once, the visible war of action and the invisible war of reputation. A ruler reputation is like a wall around the state. If state people believe this is strong, enemies hesitate. If people believe he is divided, enemies become brave. This is why every palace rumors matters, every delayed decision matters, every emotional scene can become political material. Orhan's private life is no longer private because the ruler house becomes the mirror of his authority. Boran Bey and Kurati Bey presence can help. Orhan is hidden game. They are not only warriors, they are symbolic of all loyalty. Their experience gives them the ability to sense danger that younger men may miss. They have been betrayed before. They have survived enough storm to understand when silence is suspicious. If Orhan listened to them, he gained not only protection but also historical memory. In a growing state, memory is power. The old Arabs know how enemies think because they have lived through earlier struggles. But even loyal men can become target. Enemies may try to remove the people who protect Orhan emotionally and strategy. If Boran Bey or Circuity Bey are placed in danger, it is not only because enemies want blood, it is because they want to cut Orhan away from the loyal roots of Osman. Bey eras when a young ruler loses the elder who connected him to the past, he becomes easier to insulate. This is a very serious threat. The hidden game also involves the Bey who are watching from the side. Some may be loyal but question, some may be selfish, some may wait to see who become stronger before choosing a side. This kind of uncurtained loyalty is common in period of transition. After a great founder, the next ruler must prove that the state will not weaken. Orhan is living inside that test. Every Bey is asking silently, can he carry this? Orhan must answer not with anger but with result. The strongest move Orhan can make it to expose the hidden game without losing control. If he reacts quickly, enemies may make him look unstable. If he waits too long, they may grow stronger. He must gather information, watch people carefully, and chooses the right moment to strike. This shows a more mature form of leadership. The audience should see that Orhan is not only brave, he is becoming strategic. He is learning that patience can sometimes be sharper than a sword. The hidden game around Orhan will likely become more intense because his enemies know his reign has begun. They cannot allow him to become fully settled. A settled Orhan would be very difficult to shake. If he secures the palace, strengthens his alliances, and continues expansions, his enemy will lend space. That is why they must attack now while emotions are raw and loyalties and still begin tested. This is the beauty of the current storyline. Everything is connected. Nilufar pain is not only emotional, it can become a political. Asporka's expansion is not only domestic, it is affect alliances. Didar revenge is not only person, it can shake the palace. Daphne manipulation is not only individual, it can create public consequence. Orhan's silence is not only internal, it can change how people judge the strength. In the coming direction, Orhan must become a ruler who sees beyond the obvious. He may understand that not everyone who smiles is loyal, not every loud enemy is the most dangerous, and not every wound inside the palace must become a weakness. If he can turn these wounds into unity, he will defeat the hidden game. If he fails, his enemies will not need to break the gates. The palace will open from within. The road toward a greater state, the next stage of Kurus Orhan, should move toward the idea of state building. This is very important because Orhan's story cannot remain only inside palace. Emotions, revenge plans, and personal raviours, these elements are powerful, but they must serve a larger journey. Orhan's destiny is not only to survive, his destiny is to expand, organize, and strengthen the inheritance left by Orhan Bey. This is where the story becoming bigger. The audience must feel that every personal pain is happening while story is moving forward. Orhan road toward a greater state begin with vision. Abe may protect what he already has, but a ruler must imagine what does not exist yet. Orhan must look at small settlements and see future cities. He must look at sacred warriors and see an organized war. He must look at family disagreements and see the needs of political structure. He must look at trade routes, borders, alliances, and enemies not as separate issues but as part of one large picture. This is the mind of state builder. In this stage, Orhan's biggest difference from ordinary rivals is patient. His enemies may want quick revenge or quick power. Orhan must think beyond the most. If he responds to every insult immediately, he will become trapped in other people's plans. If he ignores every insult, he will look weak. So he must choose carefully. A growing state cannot waste energy on every small fire. It must know which fire can burn the house and which fire will die by itself. The palace conflict also connect to state building because a divided palace cannot support growing state. Nilufar, Sporka, Malhan, Haunt, Fatma and the other women around Orhan are not separate from politics. They shape the emotional and social foundation of the ruler house. If the household becomes a palace of constant jealousy and hidden anger, enemies will use it. But if the women find a way to stand with dignity every through pain, then the palace becoming stronger. This is why Orhan domestic decision matter for the state future. Mulhan Haunt can become the choice of all wisdom in the state. She has seen uh, enough hardship to know that emotions must not be denied but they must be guided. She may remind Orhan that ruling is not only about giving order, it is about creating balance between people who may never fully agree. She may also guide Nilufar and Asporka in different way. To Nilufar, she way about speak patient and dignity. To Asporka, she may speak about humility and responsibility. To Orhan, she may speak about justice. It be this way Mulhan Horn become a bridge between the old dreamer and the new order. Orhan connection with the apes also need to grow. The apes do not follow only because of title. They follow because they believe the leader sees them or values them and walk ahead of them. Orhan must show that is not ruling from distance. He must sit with them, listen to them, understand their fear, the honor their sacrifice. This emotional bond is necessary because the early state is not built only with law and walls. It is Built with loyalty, loyalty is the invisible road on which power travels. A great state also needs justice. If Orhan punished only enemies and protect wrongdoers close to him, people will close trust. If he become too soft for toward betrayal from people will feel unsafe. If he become cruel, people will fear him but not love him. The real challenge is the create justice that feels firm but not blind. This is where Orhan can prove that he is becoming more than a warrior. He is becoming a ruler who understands responsibilities before God, therefore his people, and before history. The becoming direction may also show Orhan facing economic and social question of a state cannot survive only through heroic movement. It needs markets, roads, taxes, protections, settlement, and order. The strongest historical drama become riches when the show this side of power. Orhan greatest can be shown not only by what the conqueror but by he is organizer. After control is gained, can people live safely? Can traders move? Can families settle? Can justice reach ordinary people? These questions make the story deeper and less respective. The emotional side of greater state is the idea of inheritance. Orhan is crying Osman Bey name, but if must also create his own signature. If he also repeat Osman Bey, he remains a shadow. If he forgets Osman Bey, he loses his roots. The respect path is to honor the foundation while building something says. This is why Orhan's journey is so interesting. He stands between memory and future. Behind him is Osman Bey's struggle. Ahead of him is the dream of a state that will become much larger than the people around him can fully imagine. Nilufar child Esporca position, Fatma's love, Evron loyalty, Boran Bey experience, Bey courage, and Malhon Horn wisdom all become part of this bigger construction. Each character must either strength at the state or become a crack inside it. This is the real question for the next phase. Who will become a pillar and who will become a weakness? Who will sacrifice personal anger for the future? And who will sacrifice the future for personal anger? Orhan enemies may believe that they attacking a man, but they are actually taking a beginning. This is why they are afraid. A man can be defeated, but an idea is harder to kill. Osman Bey idea the already passed into Orhan. If Orhan passes it into insulation, loyalty, cities, and future generation, then the enemies will face something much greater than one ruler. They will face a state that continue even after one man is gone. This is the direction that makes Cruel's Orhan powerful. The story is not about who wins today, it is about how a small power becomes permanent. It is about how personal sacrifice becomes political strength. It is about how pain Inside one palace can still give birth to a simple future empire. Orhan Road will not be clean, it will be full of betrayal, heartbreaking, difficult marriages, dangerous allies, and enemies who smile before striking. But all of this pressure is shaping the state. In the final feeling of this part, Orhan should stand not as a man who has solved everything, but as a man who finally understands the size of what he carries. The palace is not full peaceful, Nilufar is not fully had, Asporka is not fully expected, enemies are not fully defeated, the road is not fully safe. But Orhan is no longer looking only at the pain in front of him. He is looking beyond it. He knows the dream is bigger than one wound. He knows the future is bigger than one night of sadness. He stands the state will ask for more sacrifice, and still he was forward. That is the heart of Tulus Orhan at this point. Not a perfect ruler, not a painless, not a peaceful palace, not a rising state built by people who continue moving even when their hearts are heavy. The palace after Orhan's decision does not feel peaceful even when the halls are quiet. This is the kind of silence that comes after a storm, not before comfort. Everyone is walking carefully, everyone is speaking and measured word, and every face seems to hide something behind the eyes. Orhan may have made his decision for the state, but the people around him are still living with the emotional weight of that decision. A ruler can announce a path in one moment, but the herd affected by the path do not accept it so quickly. This is why the palace now feels like a palace where every small movement matters. A look between Nilufar and Esporka can create tension, a silence from Orhan can create doubt, a word from Orhan Horn can either heal the atmosphere or make everyone remember the wound again. Nilufar is still standing with dignity, but her heart is no longer at ease. She is not the kind of woman who will break openly in front of everyone. Her pain is more controlled, and that make it more powerful. She carries herself with grit, but the audience can feel that something inside her has changed. She no longer looks at the palace with the same confidence. Before, the palace may have felt like a home built around love and loyalty. Now it feels like a palace where love must share space with politics, strategy, and painful necessity. Nilufar understands that Orhan is not acting like an ordinary man, but this understanding does not remove the acting. In fact, it may make the pain deeper because she cannot even blame him completely. She knows his duty, yet she still feels betrayed by destiny. Esporka presence create another layer of discomfort. She may not enter with open courtly, but her very presence is enough to disturb the old emotional order. She knows that people are watching her. She knows that some will judge the before she speaks. She knows that Nilufar pain is attached to her name, but even she did not create to rule the situation herself. This makes Porca question she cannot afford to appear weak. She also cannot afford to appear proud. If she smiles too much, if she look like victory, if she remains too silent, it can look like arrogance. If she tries to approach Nilufar, it can look like false kindness. If she avoids Nilufar, it can look like coldness. This is the difficult path of a woman who has entered a palace already full of old emotions. Orhan sees all of this even when he does not speak. This is the most painful part. He is not blind to the damage around him. He sees Nilufar resistance, sadness. He sees Esporka careful steps. He sees Mulhan Haunt watching the palace balance like a mother and a state woman at the same time. But Orhan cannot move only as a man who wants to comfort everyone. He has to move as the center of the state. This make is every decision heavy. Every kindness must be measured. Even affection must be controlled. Even apology must be given at the right time, because in a ruler house, private emotions quickly become public meaning. Mulhan Horn's presence becomes important here because she understands that the palace must not fall into emotional joy. She has seen enough pain in her life to know that wounds do not disappear by ignoring them. But she also knows that if every wound is allowed to speak louder than duty, she states the will suffer. She may not agree with every pain, but she understands the danger of letting pain becoming rebellion. His role is not just to comfort Nilufar or rest Asporka. Her role is to protect the emotional foundation of the house. A state can survive an enemy outside, but it becomes weak when the house of the ruler becomes divided inside. This is why the next direction of the story becomes more interesting. The palace does not need a loud fight to become tense. The real tension comes from things unsaid. Nilufar may not accuse Orhan openly, but her silence can make him restless. Esporka may not challenge Nilufar openly, but her new position can make Nilufar pain feel replaced. Orhan may not show weakness, but his dry eyes can reveal that he is carrying more than he says. That emotional pressure can slowly turn into a dangerous atmosphere, especially because enemies are watching from the shadow. Daphne and Didar can easily sense this weakness. They cannot need to create the first crack because the crack already exists. They only need to push it wider. A palace where two women are emotionally wounded and politically connected becomes a perfect field for manipulation. If Nilufar hears the wrong word at the wrong time, her sadness can turn into anger. If Asporka is made to feel unwanted, her dignity can turn into deafness. If Orhan is forced to choose between them publicly, the enemies can make him look either weak or unjust. This is why the palace storyline is not only emotional, it is tragic. The strongest part of this stage is that every character believes they are protecting something. Nilufar is protecting her love and dignity, as Porka is protecting her palace and future. Orhan is protecting the state, Mulhan Haunted is protecting the household. Even the enemies believe they are protecting revenge, bridge, or the lost honor. When every person thinks their pain is justified, conflict becomes deeper. No one sees themselves as the villain of their own story. That is what makes the drama stronger. Orhan's next challenge is not only to see calm the palace but to transform this painful situation into strength. If Nilufar and Sporka remain divided, the palace will become a weapon in the hands of enemies. But if they learn to stand with discipline when even without loving each other, the palace can become stronger than before. There is where Orhan must shadow wisdom. He cannot force emotional, but he can establish respectful. He cannot urge hurt, but he can stop hurt from becoming disorder. He cannot make Nilufar forget, but he can make her feel that her value has not disappeared. This part of the story should move slowly with emotionally weight. The viewer should feel that the palace is breathing but not peacefully. It is breathing like someone who survived a wound and is waiting to see whether the wound he will heal to bleed again. Orhan stands in the center of this fragile world, and for the first time, the palace feels as dangerous as the frontier. Because outside enemies come with sword, inside enemies come through silence, bridge, grief, and the fear of being forgotten. The enemy learn to attack the heart. The enemy around Orhan are becoming more intelligent because they have started to understand that Orhan cannot be broken only through direct confrontation. A brave can answer a sword as a sword. A strong ruler can answer a switch with strategy, but when the attack comes through he hurt, that response becomes more difficult. This is where the latest story becomes more mature. Orhan enemies are no longer only asking how to defeat his army. They are asking how to disrupt his palace, how to weaken his judgment, and how to turn the people closest to him into sources of pressure. The revenge represents the emotional side of this enemy movement. She is not acting like someone who wants only political benefit. She is acting like someone the danger for Matras and Yegid makes him love story more dramatic. Address and some present outside threat, but Yegid represents personal revenge. But wounded pride, Yegid anger is dangerous because it is emotional. He cannot accept that Fatma hurts moved at Evron. He says Evron not only a rival but an insult. How to pride this make him unpredictable. A rival who want power may stop, won't defeated. A rival whose bridge wounded often more dangerous. A defeat Fatma danger become the turning point of Iran's a man love is not measured when everything easy, it is measured yet appeared. If Orkhan leaves himself same Fatma from the audience sees world as empty, he is ready to carry pain of her. He is ready to enter danger for her. But after the rescue, the emotional question remains what will a sacrifice be enough for people to accept him, or will they continue to judge him through old fear? Fatima must also throw His storyline she should not remain only the person being protected. The strongest woman would be choosing with open eyes. She must understand the danger and still decide whatever her heart is strong enough to stand with beyond the kind of choice given her dignity. It turns her from passive figure into someone who shaped her own dignity. In a series filled with powerful men, strong female choices are important because they show that the state is not built only by sword, it is also built by the courage of women who refuse to let fear decide their lives. The loves between Fatma and Yon are also mirror our larger them of series. Orhan is trying to build unity from decided world. Everyone Evion and Fatima are trying to build love from divided loyalty, but stories carries the same question. Can something new be born from pain, suspension and sacrifice? If Evion is accepted, it would show that the loyalty can be chosen. Blood and past are important, but choices defeat as future. This message first strongly with the ideas of growing state because a state cannot expand it, reject it. Every person who comes from outside the original circle. But this accept will not come easily. Yagit and continue to feed doubt. Enemies may use a beyond past against him. Fatima may be pressured emotionally by those who fear for her, or Han himself may have to decide how much trust to give Evion in critical moment. This is create every strong drama because Evion's personal love and political loyalty will test it at the same time as he for a test may be doubt everything. If he is success, he become one of most valuable and around. This is also a painful possibility that Fatima and Yon love may become a tool in the hand of enemy. In Fatima's kidnapping, threatening are used as bait. Everyone can be forced into emotional decision. This is a common danger for someone in love. Enemies knows that love creates bravery, but it also creates vulnerability. Everyone may be strong, but this love for man can make him act quickly. Orhan may need to guide him, teaching him that love must be protected with wisdom, not only courage. Fatma emotionally world also deserves depth. She may ask herself whether love is worth the fear it brings. She may wonder of chosen everyone will make her life harder forever. She may feel torn between her heart and the people who warm her. This inner conflict should not be rushed. It makes her more human. A woman who chooses love after thinking deeply is stronger than a woman who chooses love only through emotionally. By the end of this stage, Fatima and Avron should stand at a point where their relationship is no longer hidden inside uncertainly. The other must step forward with courage, or they must accept that fear they defeated them. And because this is Krulus or Han, love will not be allowed to remain separate from destiny, allowed to their bond with Ether become a strong strength for the state. For a weakness enemies can use. That is what makes their story important. The most powerful meaning of Fatima Embryon is that love in the world and not escape. It is another battlefield, but not a battlefield of sword. It is a battlefield of trust, patience, sacrifice, and courage. And if they survive it, their love will not look soft. It will look earned or harm, frontier vision, and the trap of ambition. While the palace carries emotional fire, the frontier carries political fire. Orhan cannot stop moving because a ruler who stops moving gives courage to his enemies. The latest direction around and the Christ border give the story a wider meaning. This is not about one target or one movement. It is about Orhan proving that his rule will not remain trapped inside palace tension. He must show that even when his heart is heavy, his vision is still alive. The frontier is important because it reveals the true strength of a ruler. Inside the palace, word can be controlled in council. Palan can sound strong, but on the frontier, everything becomes real: roads, village, borders, alliances, and enemies. At the weather, a ruler vision can survive outside speeches or Han knows this. This is why the control cannot allow his enemies to think his domestic problems have slowed his ambition. If they believe he is distracted, they will attack harder. If they cease moving forward with discipline, they will hesitate. Becomes symbolic because it represents the next step, not just a place in a growing state. Every small step matters. A village can become a gate, a road can become a supply line, a border point can become a future shield. This is how Orhan must think. His enemy may seize only land, but he must see structure. He must see what each palace means to defend trade, influence, and future. Explaining this is the mind of a ruler, building something larger himself, but ambitions always track Dimran and love rivals. Understand the Orhan movement toward expansion can strengthen his image. If he succeeds, the palace tension become less demanding because victory gives people confidence. If he falls, every enemy will say his rule is unstable. That is why they must try to stop him before success becomes moments. They want to catch him between palace wound and frontier danger forces him to make a mistake under pressure. A trap on the frontier is not only military, it is physiological. Enemies want Orhan to feel surrounded. They want him to think that every road hides betrayal and every ally may turn away. If Orhan being to doubt too much, he becomes slow. If he trusts too easily, he becomes exposed. He correct path is difficult. He must become careful without becoming fearful. He must become decisive without becoming reckless. Boran Bay and Bay presence on this road gives emotional strength. They are not judge barrier from the old says, they are living bridge between Osman Bey's struggle and Orhan future. They struggle, they tried with Orhan. It feels like the past is blessing the new journey. The loyalty reminds the audience that Orhan is not alone, even if relationship feels lonely, but because they are so meaningful, they are also a valuable target for enemies. Hurting them would hurt Orhan emotionally and symbolically. This is where the story can create deep tension. If Goran Bey or Bey is injured, Orhan faces a cruel test. Does he move forward for the strategic goal, or does he risk the larger mission to save the people who connect him to his father's legacy? A ruler must protect his men, but he must also protect the state. These movements define leadership because there is no painless answer. Whatever Orhan chooses, he will carry the result. The virtual storylines should also show Orhan intelligence. They should not simply walk into trap because he is brave. His strength should be visible. He should road the land, question the timing, notice unusual silence, and understand that enemies may be using his ambition against him. A strong Orhan is not that one who never faced trap. A strong Orhan is one who entered danger with eyes open and turned the trap back on the whole build. This would be a powerful emotion moment for the audience. The enemies may believe Orhan is distracted by Nilufar, Asporka and palace tension, but Orhan may reveal that he has been watching everything. He may allow the enemies he think they are in control, then strike at the moment when their confidence becomes carelessness. This kind of strategic victory would show that Orhan is coming more than a brave here. He is becoming a commander with patience. The frontier also allow Orhan to reconnect with the people. Palace politics can make a ruler feel instant, but the frontier bring him back to the ordinary world. Villagers, warriors, traders, families waiting for security. Those people do not care about palace jealousy in the same way. They care about safety, justice, food, roads, and protection. When Orhan sees them, he remembers when they state matter. It is not only about dynasty, it is about giving order to people who live under constant fear. This can become a strong emotional contract. In the palace, Orhan is judged by people close to him. On the frontier, he is needed to people who may never fully knows private pain. This reminds him that his suffering is personal, but his duty in public. They may not be able to heal every wound in his home immediately, but he still protects the future of his people. This gives him strength. The enemy's mistake may be thinking that Orhan's emotional pain will weaken his ambition, but something pain makes a ruler more focused. If Orhan feels that his personal life has become complicated because of the state, then he may become even more determined to take more sacrifice meaningful. He may think, if I already wounded my heart this path, then I cannot allow this path of fail. This mindness can make him dangerous. By the end of his frontier stage, Orhan must return not only with survival but with clarity. He must understand who trapped him, who hesitated, who remained loyal, and who revealed their true face. Every expedition should give him more than land. It should give him knowledge because knowledge is the foundation of future victory. A new oath for the future. After all these tensions, the story needs a moment where Orhan looks beyond the pain and renewed his oath. This oath should not be a simple heroic speech. It should come from everything he has suffered. It should carry Nilufar tears, Esporka uncertainty, Fatima danger, Evron loyalty, Molhan haunts wisdom, Didar revenge, defend poison, and the frontier traps. Step by his rivals, a powerful oath is not found in comfort, it is found when a man sees how heavy the road and it still chooses by walk. Orhan oath should be different from Osman Bey voice because Orhan is not Osman, is respected his father legacy, but the must speak with his own soul. Osman Bey's struggle was the struggle of foundation. Orhan's struggle is the struggle of continuation and transformation. He must take what was built, what sacrificed, and turn it into something more stable, more organized, and more lasted. This is a different kind of greatness. It does not always look at fiery, but it is quickly important. The new oath can begin inside Orhan's silence. He looks at the palace and sees the palace is fragile. He looks at Nilufar and understands that love has been wounded by duty. He looks at Esporka and understands that political has brought a woman into a storm she did not fully create. He looks at Fatima and sees that even the younger heirs of the house are not safe from revenge. He looks at his arms and sees men ready to die, but also men who need a ready worth for their sacrifice. In that moment, Orhan understands that ruling means carrying all of them. This is where this character has become stronger. He does not deny the pain, he accepts it. This is very important. A weak man pretends nothing are wrong. A strong man sees the wood and still stands. Orhan maturity comes from expecting this choice will never please everyone. Some will misunderstand him, some will blame him, some him blame him, use his decision against him. Some will love him and still suffer because of him. But if he stops because of this, the step stop with him. Nilufar's role is one youth, the emotional, even if she does not stand beside him with the same easier as before. Her presence still matters. Her pain reminds Orhan that the state must not become a machine that crushes her without feeling. If he loses all tenders, he becomes powerful but empty. Nilufar keeps the human part of Orhan alive. Her sadness becomes a mirror that him power has a cost. He must not forget that cost. Asporka, a rule is political and presence at the same time. She presents that difficult alliance that will shape the future through her. Orhan learned that every political decision became a human reality. A marriage is not only a treaty, it is a life a woman brought forth. She thought still breach fear and destiny. If Orhan treats her only as a symbol, he fails normally. If he treats her with respect, he strengthens both the palace and his own justice. Mulhan Horn's rule is spiritual and historical. She reminds Orhan that the state, when was not built he one day and will not be protected in one night. She has seen struggle, lose, and patience. Her wisdom gives Orhan tools. A tree without rules falls into storm no matter how right it grows. Morhan Horn represent those roads. She connects Orhan to Osman Bey dream, but she also pushes him to become strong in his own way. Evian and Fatma's role in symbolic of the new world. Orhan is building this. Their love shows that the Orhan future will not be simple. Different background, wounded loyalties, and new bonds will enter the state. Orhan must decide whether his world will be closer by fear or steadiness by choosing loyalty. If Ekron prove himself, then Orhan's state becomes border. It becomes a place where loyalty is not only inherited by earned this enemy to shape the earth. Didar teaches Orhan that grief can become destruction. Defend teaches him that manipulation can be sharper than steel. Sahinsas and Dimra teach that the ambition inside families' circulations can be more dangerous than enemies outside the order. Andras and Yeki teach them personal heritage can disturb political order. A ruler who earns from enemies becomes harder to defeat. The oath of the future should like a promise to protect the state from both open and hidden danger. Orhan must promise himself that he will not allow palace wound he become political collapse. He will not allow rival bait to turn ambition into civil weakness. He will not allow enemies to use love as a chain around his decision. He will not allow revenge to decide the future of his people. He will not allow Usman Bey dreams to become only a memory. The oath also gives the next episode a strong direction. The palace must be held on discipline. The fertile must be secured. The enemies must be exposed. The loyal must be rewarded. The doubtful must be washed. The wounded must be understood. The state must keep moving. This creates a complete dramatic engine for the story because every character now has a path. Nilufar must decide how to carry her pain. Esporka must decide what kind of woman she will become in the palace. Fatma must decide whether love is worth danger. Everyone must decide how far loyalty can go. Malhan Hunt must guide without controlling. Orhan must control without losing himself. The final feeling of this part should be powerful, but not every loud. Orhan does not need to shout to prove strength. He can stand quietly, look toward the future, and speak with controlled fire. He knows the road ahead will not be easy. He knows more betrayal will come. He knows the palace will test him again. He knows the frontier will demand blood, but he also knows that our ruler is not chosen by comfort. Our ruler is shaped by storm, and so Orhan new oath becomes the heart of the next chapter. He will carry love, but he will not be ruled by weakness. He will carry mercy, but he will not allow betrayal to grow. He will carry his father's dream, but he will not remain openly his father's shadow. He will build, protect, punish, forgive, and move forward. Because the state waiting beyond his storm is bigger than one palace wound, bigger than one enemy and trap, bigger than one painful decision. Krulus Orhan at this point becomes the story of a man learning that destiny does not ask whether the heart is ready. Destiny simple opens the heart, waits to seems the she who's continue walking Orhan continue walking. This is why his story is only becoming stronger. After Orhan renew his oath, the story should move into a heavier political atmosphere where every man in the council begin to reveal his real nature without openly saying his true intention. This council is not just a room where decisions are made, it is a palace where loyalty is tested through silence, preach, and hidden fear. Someone weigh it there with respect in their says, but their heart are still mirroring Orhan. Some remember Osman Bey and compare every decision and Orhan with the old days. Some believe the young ruler is strong, but other quality wonder whether he is being pulled too deeply into palace matter. This is where the pressure around Orhan becomes sharper because he is not only facing enemies only, he is only facing the doubt of men who are supposed to stand with him. Orhan entered the council with a calm face, but inside the understand the meaning of every look. He knows that a ruler cannot demand loyalty only through little. He must make people feel this direction is clear. If he speaks too softly, the ambitions will think he is weak. If he speaks too harshly, the question will think he is becoming reckless. So he chooses a different path. He speaks with control, reminding that the state cannot stop because of fear and it cannot be guided by personal anger. His word of do not be loud because real authority does not always come from shouting. Sometimes authority is strongest when everyone becomes silent after one sentence. In this council, Orhan should make it clear that the future of the state will not be built by emotional reaction. He knows enemies are trying to create disorder. He knows some people are waiting for mistake. He knows the palace he has shaken, but the refuse to let the weakness separate into the political structure. This is the moment where Orhan began to separate himself from ordinary leader. He does not deny the crisis, he controls the crisis. He cannot pretend everyone is loyal. He watches who becomes uncomfortable when he speaks about loyalty. The most interesting part of this council is that betrayal does not appear Openly, it appears through hesitation. A bear declare is answer. A bear declare another avoid or harm I someone agree too quickly if he